Hey, it's Darcy again. And I'm working out in the garden, and the light is so wonderful right now that I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to show a section of my garden that you haven't seen in a while. So let me turn the camera around. It's been a while since I have walked you through what's happening in my backyard garden. Oftentimes, I describe this as my shady side yard, and you're looking at it now and probably saying, "Hey, geez, there's a lot of sun going on in there." But it's midday; it's about 1 o'clock. It's in early to mid June, and I'm in Portland, Oregon, USDA Zone 8. Um, and the light was just so pretty. I thought I would, just take a little break and kind of do a little walkthrough and just appreciate and enjoy some of the plants that are really looking great right now. Um, so this back corner is quite shady. So this is midday sun. So the sun is directly overhead. So that's why we're seeing so much light in this area. But as the day progresses, pretty soon this will be in shade, and that's what the plants that I've selected in here, that's what they want. So this morning sun, afternoon shade with good yummy soil is making some of my rhododendrons pretty darn happy. Um, I know, so I'm in the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon, and rhodies are pretty ubiquitous in gardens here. But and so, some of the hoity-toity, they might look down on them a little bit and think that they're too common. Um, what I like to do are select rhododendrons, species rhododendrons that have fantastic foliage. Look at how that's emerging, how neat that is. This did bloom a while ago, um, and it was a pretty pink blossom, and I enjoyed it very much. But I really like it for its foliage action, and you can kind of see it's got a creaminess to it. This one here is doesn't always bloom. It's sometimes blooms, and it's when it does bloom, it's a little later in the season. And but right now, it's just really big foliage. Let me put my hand in there so you can kind of see. So you can kind of get a sense of the foliage is very big, very bold. Kind of almost gives a real tropical vibe. And believe it or not, this is also a rhododendron. So this one's ebony pearl, and it is, I can't remember. I think it already bloomed. Um, Gosh, for the life of me, I can't remember. I think it bloomed already. Either way, it doesn't matter. The blooms on this one are very pretty. They're a very vivid magenta pink, which is really fun against that bronze foliage. And then those have been established for a while. I've got another one over here called cherries and Malo. It will bloom, but it didn't bloom this year because it's a bit of a youngster, and it's going to have that fantastic foliage and some deep reddish pink flowers. Got a Choisia Aztec Pearl, excuse me, not Choisia, Choisia um, Gold Fingers, which is looking pretty great. A little earlier this year, it had a lot of damage from the winter, and I knew it would bounce back, but I'm glad to see that it really has come around. And since somebody is coming out to see us, why don't we take a low? That's Combo Wawa, our our garden mascot, if you will. So he's coming to say hello. Hey, buddy. Hi. Oh, look at that. Good boy. All right. All right. He's a distraction. All right. What else can I tell you about? Something else that's happening are the martagon lilies. So this one is a wonderful red. And then right down the path here, we've got one that's much more in the orangey yellow tones. And then in a different part of the garden that we may see in a moment, I've got some other ones. So we're just kind of going through. There's a lot of plants in here, so I can't really identify, take the time to tell you exactly all the plants. So I'm going to speak kind of generally, and I guess I got nerding out on some of the rhododendrons because, well, because I was standing right next to them, and because look at that. That is another rhododendron, which it blooms. Yes, it blooms, but I think more than the flowers, that's what I like. Um, this one is uh, rhododendron pachysanthem. Um, and these rhododendrons that have that kind of interesting foliage that is, if you could feel it and see it, you would see that it's kind of fuzzy. Um, and the white one, the one that was kind of, very ghostly white. Um, what's happening there is that the plants have what's called indumentum, and that's what kind of makes that interesting foliage color. I think I'm going to back up and we'll look at it in this direction as well. And one thing I'm going to mention is clematis. I have added a lot of clematis this year, and I kind of get on. One of the things I do is I get kind of on a tear and I start collecting things. So at different times I've collected ferns, the rhododendrons, like what we've seen. Um, oh gosh, any number of things. But lately I've been going after adding lots of clematis. And I've had them in my garden for quite a while. A lot of them are on my boundary fences and they bloom and they look great, but they have a tendency to, and I'll go over and show you an example. Um, this one, well, this one's probably not a great example, but this one's John Warren. It's one of my oldest clematis, and I get to see that pretty well. But I have other clematis along this fence line, all along the fence line, that I see some, and I enjoy growing them, even if they're not front and center. But I'll tell you what, from my neighbor's side, they really get to enjoy some of my clematis. So what I did is I had a structure, see it there, used in a different part of my garden. And so I decided to move that kind of here to the center and cover it with vines. And what's going to happen is I get to view it from all sides. I get to grow vines that I get to enjoy. So this one I believe is Princess Diana. She was just planted this year. Right in here where it's just green foliage, that was a really, that was my first one to bloom on this structure, and it was Guernsey cream. And it was just, so now it's done its bloom. So we started with Guernsey cream, and then I think the next one to kind of come in and really start performing was this one. This one's, I'm going to butcher the name, but Pilu or Ugly Duckling. And it, look at the blooms on that. It is a fantastic vine. It is it's reasonably compact, doesn't get very tall, but the bud count on it is through the roof. So, and this is going to bloom for quite a while. So, anyways, he's been blooming and will continue blooming. And then I've got one of the Boulevard series down here, kind of just a little shorty that will again bloom quite a bit. And then I've got another vine that's going to come up, and it's not a clematis, it's a different type of vine, and it's going to be pretty vigorous and go all the way to the top. But the reason I'm pointing all that out is that now all these vines that I'm growing, that's like central in my space, and I get to walk around and enjoy them from all angles. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Spend a lot of time in that area right over there. That's our seating area. And we'll just do one more walk down the path. And I'm just kind of really trying to focus it in this section because I could just go around and around and show you plants, million different plants, but I'm just kind of keeping it into a section. And I know I haven't shown this section in a video in quite a while. This is through here quite shady because I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I'm on the north side of my property. And so here's something that's rather central in the middle. That's a hydrangea paniculata quickfire, and I've got a clematis growing through that. But it creates and casts some shade, which allows me to make a lot of these shady treasures happy. So that's a Dryopteris Seiboldii, very cool fern if you haven't been growing it. This is Ethereum Ghost, little pulmonaria. Oh, here's one. I hope you can kind of get a sense of. This one is a shade lover. This one is a Bergenia, and I'm going to try and get my hand in there so you can see how big that is. Oh boy, I don't know if you can see it. It's huge. It's just, the leaves are just ginormous. And so it's a very kind of exotic, crazy, fun plant to grow. Very vigorous. And so there we are. I hope you enjoyed that walk through my backyard garden, and I hope that if you like this kind of content, if you enjoy seeing gardens and getting behind the scenes, that you will take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.